Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to Down Home Crypto. I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. And today, I have a really special event because I started to ask myself about this angel investing. I've heard about it, and I knew I was never one of them, but I didn't understand what it took to be an angel investor versus the traditional market versus the new crypto market because the world is changing and it's always evolving. So I wanted to bring some people in and I wanted to learn about this whole concept of angel investing in the old analog system and in the new digital age and how we can all try to participate in this. So I want to welcome our guest speakers today. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Terrific. And I want to say thank you to everybody in the community. I see Matt out there and Lynn, love you, love. Harleen, good to have you. X8 Taylor, thanks, guys. And I'm sure more will be rolling in. So yeah, the topic here, of course, is angel investing. Now, I tried to do some research. I tried to understand about what a quote traditional or what I call the analog financial system is for an angel investor. And let me share this real quick. Share screen. And
Srini, do you have a live link to the thing so I can share with my people?
I do, absolutely. I will put that in right now.
Yeah, put in the comments. I'll copy it and send it to my peeps.
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Give me 5 seconds here so I stop breaking things. Okay, let me share that. And hide that and move that. Sorry, guys. It's Saturday morning. We're not the most technical this morning. We're kind of flying, having some fun. So yeah, we're just rolling with the world here. Pull this up real quick. I actually have to go to my YouTube channel. Oh wait, no, it's my Discord. Duh. That's probably the quickest way to get to it. There we go. Copy link. Okay, got it. Good catch. And I'll go to private chat. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand. That is totally my bad, guys. There you go. It should be in the private chat right there on the screen.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, we're back on topic here. And see, so when I looked up traditional financing and I looked up what an angel investor is, and this is what the information it gave me. It says, usually you meeting a standard of being an accredited investor in progression of becoming an angel investor. This means you earn an income of at least 200,000 or more for the past 2 years, or 300,000 with a spouse, or your net worth alone with a spouse must surpass 1 million in investable assets. So seems a pretty cut, dry, defined criteria there.
That sounds like an accredited investor.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now, is in the traditional market, do you have to be an accredited investor to be an angel investor? I mean, is there like a union? Is there a questionnaire? How does that work?
So if you're talking about stocks, bonds, stuff like that, to buy stocks and bonds, you have to be an accredited investor to buy those assets, right? So you had to have some knowledge, right, in that. So you couldn't be an angel investor in any of those types of projects if you didn't qualify for an accredited investor. Crypto's a little bit different yet because we don't have regulation or proper laws set up for it. But I do assume that what Gary Gensler is trying to do is make it, as the crypto market becomes a place where you need to be an accredited investor, and they're trying to raise the bar from 1 million to 10 million. I've seen also to really kind of push out all of the middle and lower class people out of this new market that people can, if you get into the right projects, can make enough money to live on for the rest of your life. So, you really kind of have this fight going on right now, but an angel investor in the stock market is kind of different from the crypto market in that way.
Right, and that's kind of what I wanted to cover here because, I mean, it's kind of like the analog system, the digital system, and in fact, this reminds me a lot of the Neo Masterpiece AMA I had just the other day, where I was talking to Aaron. He's talking about basically Hollywood is locked up. And so unless you have like this social standing, or same thing here in finance with accredited investor, you don't get to participate in these different things. I mean, you're just not cool enough, I guess, best way. But the digital market has opened this up to everybody. And so to me, that's really exciting to understand that we don't have to be those billion-dollar people and still have the opportunities of an angel investor.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about crypto is being able to get into things, even early and stuff and not have to meet those requirements. Because obviously, yeah, like $200,000 a year is quite a lot of money for a lot of people. So being able to kind of work past that into crypto and, get into DeFi makes it a lot easier for the everyday Joe, kind of like us.
Right. And just like Robert's saying there, if they're going to raise that to 10 million now, I mean, that's just eliminating the middle class. That's absolutely insane.
Eliminates rich people.
Yeah, exactly. 10 million, that's like most people's generations, like their lifetime of generations, like they don't even make that much money. So that it's quite a high barrier right there.
There was a conversation so they've had a lot of conversations in Congress about digital assets and the market. And one of the panelists said that you guys should create a test from the SEC that the SEC creates to create accredited investor status, right? Because there could be people, people like yourselves that have knowledge, can understand the market, do understand the risk, right? And so I hope they're working on a test that people can actually start qualifying for that. I know there is something kind of like a Series 65 or a Series something like that. I know they're trying to work on that as a piece of it. But I can't remember exactly what the series is called, but they do really need to make a path for regular people to become accredited if they have the knowledge to be accredited, right? It shouldn't be just, hey, you have to own a yacht to be in this club, right? It should be like, hey, if you're intelligent enough, you understand the risk, and you're able to pass this test, you should be able to get that status and then, do whatever you want with it.
Right. Yeah. Now, currently right now, what does it take to be certified as, accredited investor? Is there any test, or is it just, hey, I won the lottery, I have this money? What do you guys know about that?
Well, no, you read it at the beginning of this thing, the dollar value that you have to have, that you basically read what it is.
So there's nothing beyond that. You just have money and that's it. You're there.
Yeah. So if you're single, you have to make, it was like 200,000 or something, or 200. And then if you have a spouse, you have to have a combined. And then let's say you own a home that's over $1 million worth, you could be considered an accredited investor because that asset is, in sense worth $1 million. So there's different ways to kind of come and go about it, but you probably want to talk to your tax professional. Those people would be able to tell you if you qualify or if you don't qualify and what you would need to do to get to that point.
Yeah. Okay. And that makes sense. So, Carl, I'm kind of curious, you guys at Collective Finance, you offer out angel investor stuff there. What do you guys require? Because I know I've talked to Doc about this, that usually has a one-on-one chat with people who want to become angels. So, I mean, what do you feel is an appropriate level of knowledge, experience, wealth, that kind of stuff to qualify as a, quote, angel investor in the DeFi space?
It all depends. I think for us, we've had a lot of individuals come that have been very well diverse in the space and are very well knowledged, and that's why they came to us to become an angel investor, because they've seen the stability and long-term potential. But it's again just kind of like a capital requirement. For us, it was a 5K minimum, and again, right now we have our angel NFTs selling for a 5K minimum. So if that's what you're interested in and you believe in the vision, which not a lot of degens really are, so it kind of helps, to filter out a lot of those people and instead get the more people that are interested, because dropping $5,000 or more into something can be kind of a lot for some, but maybe not a lot for some people who, might be whales or just diversified really well into a lot of other stuff. So, but I think for us, people coming in already do kind of have a lot of that knowledge and education, and we can, kind of connect with them on that level. And they realize that what we're offering is a stable backed asset that you can earn yield on. And it's just a way different game than, getting into a DeFi gamble or angel investing into something else that's totally degen and stuff. So for us, it's a lot more stable. I think people can see that when they come in, and it's a lot easier to connect with individuals, especially like Robert, Rebel, very intelligent, smart guys. They know what they're getting into, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's great to know. So Rebel, you've been kind of quiet down there, buddy. So now I'm going to start picking on you a little bit.
Cool.
So now you are an angel investor with Collective Finance. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay.
I am, yes.
So let me ask you, first of all, is this the first project you've been an angel investor with?
No, actually, I was in the right place at the right time with Seifu. So I made a whole bunch off of that, and I was an angel investor in different projects like Alto, um, Vertec, the Titan. It didn't end up too well, but you know,
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay.
you know,
As far as coming into an angel, you've been in a few different angel investors. What have you noticed different about that role from one project to another? I mean, is it just financial criteria? Is it knowledge, experience? How do they vary from one project to another?
Well, in my experience, it's quite similar to real life. I mean, you just say, "Hey, you want to throw money at something?" And then the person in charge, or maybe one of their subordinates, contacts you and says, here's the contract. If you agree with it, send the money to this address, and then once we have it, we'll verify it and give you the role, and once it launches, you get all the stuff. But so far, the only angel project I've been in that is actually doing well for me is collective finance.
Cool. Okay, good to hear. So, Robert, now I'm curious about this because Rebel just told us he was able to just get in because of finances. How do you feel about that? I mean, you're focused heavily on education with Cryptonaires. I mean, we're all about learning and growing. Do you feel that that's wrong? That maybe there should be some criteria of questions, answers, knowledge based?
I think since the crypto space is a very a nuanced space, it's a very small space compared to the stock market, the bond market, the equities, derivatives, stuff like that, right? So there is a lot of scams. There's a lot of bad actors in the space. See, the thing is, if there's a bad actor in a stock, right? They delist the stock and nobody else can buy the stock. With crypto, you can't delist the crypto asset, right? You can kind of put on there, hey, this don't, on CoinMarketCap that, hey, there's been some suspicious activity, but you can't physically take that asset down because it is globalized. So I do think having an education, an exam or a test that someone can take to understand the what you're getting into, right? Because you see stories all the time of people losing everything they have because they don't know what they're doing, right? And the crypto space can change in the blink of an eye. So I would actually be for this, right? Because I really think you need to know what you're doing before you invest any type of money, right? And we're not all financial advisors, right? And you would need to go talk to those types of people to really kind of get into that. But when you are investing into these assets, things can happen in the blink of an eye. And you have a life, or you have a job, you have kids, you have hobbies. You can't be paying attention to things all the time. And if you're investing in degen or projects that let's look at like Pepe, man. Pepe went from freaking $1 million to 1.5 billion in like 2 weeks. And I was like, man, this is a degen project. I missed the wagon on that, and I was moving, and I wish I didn't miss the wagon on that. And a lot of people made a lot of money, and I want to congratulate those people that did. But I mean, I really try to stay away from the degen side of things and really try to focus on the actually the infrastructure, the interoperability, the stuff that really is going to make it through regulation, because we're at that point now in the world where regulation is the topic, right? And I do think when you get regulation, you're going to have some type of way so people can become accredited if that's the way that they go with the crypto market.
Right, and that makes sense. And Matherin down here says, ideally, a project should be looking for serious investors that plan to support the project long term.
Yeah.
From the investor side, I think we as angels investors have value having input. I'll learn how to read later.
and Matt's correct there too, right?
Right.
The reason projects look for certain people are because people with certain knowledge in the space, right? If you're running a crypto project and you have somebody that has nothing, no idea about crypto, how it works, smart contracts, this and that, maybe they can become an angel investor just to kind of just be in the project early, but can add value to the team and kind of the direction of where we're heading, right? Yeah. So there's really kind of different types of angel investors. There's ones that just want to put the money in and kind of, forget about it and walk away and come back in 6 months. And then there's the people that really want to, help the project grow and thrive. And so you really, there's just different levels of angel investing. And usually angel investors are the ones that get in before you kind of have like ICOs and different other things like that, where the, whitelist or open, it's open to the public. But, those people are usually helping the project behind the scenes, fix some things or work on some things before the project launches, talking about marketing. What's the plan here? What's the plan for, for the future? How can we, help and direct here? Do you have questions about the current market and where we stand? What are we up against? I mean, those are really like the angel investors you really want to attract, right? You don't want to just attract, 100 angel investors where 99 of them really don't add any value to the project or the company, right? So that's why Doc meets with these people, and he wants to check them out. He wants to see where their head is and what their knowledge in the space is, and if they're in fact going to be qualified to help the project, right? Because if not, why let this person in and become an angel investor if they're really not going to add value to the project itself and really try to, bring the project up and really try to, help navigate this incredibly complicated crypto space we have here in the United States.
No,
Yeah, that's exactly.
There's
Go
one
ahead,
thing
Rebel.
there's one thing I'd be wondering. I mean, how many people actually do their research or know how to do their research? It's you'd have to do the same thing in real life. So why don't you do that in crypto?
Yeah, no, it's very true. There's tons of people that just kind of, are just following the wave and jumping on what they seem is like the next big thing. But that's, as Robert was just saying, there's lots of value that people can add. And that's why we instituted our Angels table, because we felt that in a lot of other projects that we've seen and that some of the other guys have participated in themselves as angels, is that they didn't have as much of a voice as they would like to, And so that's why within Collective Finance, we do have our Angels table, so that it's a place that you can voice your opinions. And we've taken ideas from our angels, and Rebel helps me out with a lot of stuff on the back end, and Matt dropped some great ideas, and we've taken them and rolled with them, and everybody's loved them. So yeah, it's really nice to have these people that can actually add value, give good ideas, help guide the direction. That's why we have the Angels table, to have that set up so that we can give these people a voice and help to vote kind of where we want to see things, give us better ideas for generating revenue, for staying safe, for following regulation. That's why we got, Crypto Sensei over here. Like, yeah, it's great. It's very well diversified. Lots of people have tons of different ideas, and lots of them have been fantastic.
Perfect. So I got to ask, Chrome, have you guys ever turned somebody down if they said, "Hey, I got $5,000, I want to get an angel"? But you knew they wanted nothing to do with it. It's like, I just want the money. Have you guys ever said, "You know what? I don't think you're a good fit"?
We haven't faced that really. Most people have been very genuinely interested in the project. I feel like we would probably turn down somebody if they weren't like interested in what we're actually doing, but we're just looking for the profit flip or something. I mean, we haven't had many people come to us like that. I think almost every single angel investor is somebody that like cares about what we're doing, sees the value proposition behind it, and has been helping and like spreading the name of Collective, like, hey, check out, digital fully backed gold and everything like that. So I would say like we would maybe deny somebody like that, but we haven't faced that situation yet.
And there's also another thing. I mean, Collective Finance, in my opinion, will be a great place to store and grow your wealth, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would personally agree, but I'm not a financial advisor, so don't listen to me.
Neither
I don't know. So,
I mean, just because I've been doing this since January of last year, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but I know stuff. I've been around a bit. It's almost been like gladiator camp. It was one hell of a learning curve.
that works.
And understand this too, guys. Angel investors, I know a lot of people are like, hey, these people are gonna, get in at a better price and they're gonna dump on us. Most angel investors have a vesting time, right? Where we can't sell our tokens, or we don't plan to sell our tokens. It could be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, right? We're here to stay because we believe in what we're doing in the project, right? So, I know some people are like, hey, angel investors, you guys are going to dump on, the people that are buying into fresh. That's technically incorrect because, we're on a, I don't think it's like 60 or 90 day a vesting period where we can't do anything with the tokens, let alone try to dump on the market, right? So you really, if we look outside of collective finance, right, and you're looking at just a fresh project, ABC project, right, and they're saying, hey, we're looking for early angel investors. What the questions you're going to be wanting to ask and trying to find out is, well, what is the impact and what are you guys building here? And what are you looking for from these angel investors, right? Are you just looking for money, or are you looking for a partnership to where you can help the project grow? What is the definition of because everyone has a different definition in their head. If you ask 100 people what an angel investor is, you're probably going to get 15, 20 different answers between those 100 people. And I think there's a big stigma in crypto where a lot of people feel like, hey, some people have connections and they get in before everyone else. That's actually true on some projects, but not all projects, and especially not on this one. But you really do need to find out, if you are trying to get into a project like this, what is the impact of the project? What is it trying to solve, right? Who is that team, right? What have they done? What have they built before? Right. And you really need to ask yourself these questions before you even think about trying to give money to anybody or anything, especially becoming an angel. Right. And you want to know what's expected of you. Right. Hey, I'm giving this money. I'm an angel investor. What are you expecting of me? And how can I help you guys become a better project or because different people have different skill sets, right? Some have marketing skill sets, some know how to build a community, somehow some know smart contracts and vulnerabilities, and so all these different people have different backgrounds and different ideas. And if we can you bring a group like this together and everybody's kind of sharing what it is, you really can cherry pick the best information or ideas out of all of it, and that really helps guide the project forward. And that's really what you're looking for out of your angel investor group is it's kind of like a board, right? Having a board of directors, right? So that would be my advice to you. If you're thinking of becoming an angel investor in any project, you really need to ask yourself these questions as well as ask the project themselves those questions, and really try to dig down and identify what it is they're actually trying to do and what you're trying to do. What's your plan, right? You always need to have a plan getting into any project, right? And that's why I limit my 95% of my assets are in tier 1 assets. 5% of my money is in degen assets, and I've limited that. I used to be like 50-50, right? Because 2021 was a hell of a meme coin season, but 2022 showed us really that meme coins were not going to go or do very much in that year, right? And so that was really the time to learn about what are these tier 1 assets, what are they going to do, who is working with these companies. And really, why should you invest in this blockchain, right? What is this blockchain going to do for the world? And so it was really easy for me to make a decision because I already know the world is being tokenized. Assets are being tokenized. Gold, silver, diamonds, palladium. I mean, anything of value, guys, is going to be tokenized. Oil, natural gas, you name it, is asset-backed currencies, right? Digital currencies. And so this was just a really good fit for me because I knew the world was heading this way. And, I really don't invest in a whole lot of new projects because of several reasons that I kind of just mentioned. But you really do kind of hit it home when I know the future is digitization of gold, silver, diamonds, and all this other stuff. And think about this, a year from now, you could have all 3 of those plus another 5 or 6 things, right? You could start tokenizing oil or natural gas or anything else, right? Of real value. And that's really what starts generating this whole new ecosystem, going from a fiat-based broken correspondent banking system to this new digital age revolution of digitizing gold. And the reason you digitize gold, guys, because it's really fucking heavy. And when countries are shipping gold to each other, you know those big planes they ship tanks and all this stuff on? Those are the planes that you need to send gold on, and it's a very, very expensive.
Yep.
And it's costly, right? Because not only you have to pay for the plane, the jet fuel, the security, but now that you can tokenize it, it can stay in a vault, right? Of who you're buying it from, right? You want to be buying from a reputable dealer or source, and that is where it can be stored. Now, having physical gold might be better if the world flips upside down and we have a financial great reset and you need to barter, right? It's going to be harder to barter with digital gold than it is going to be with physical gold. But as we're heading into, I think a recession here over the next couple of months, I do think we're going to see the stock market is going to take a bit of a deep dive off a cliff, and you just want to be very careful about that. I don't know how well it's going to affect the crypto market. I would assume some, but I think people that are in the crypto market now understand how important technology is, right? The people that stayed through 2022 are the people that understand how important the technology is and how fast it's being adopted worldwide. Things don't move very fast in Congress or in any kind of legislations until they actually need the technology, and then it moves at lightning speed, right? And
Right.
so back to angel investing, but yeah, just make sure you want to have a plan. Always have a plan. Have a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month, even a 5-year plan is always a good idea, depending on the project and what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Another thing I was thinking of when I was hearing you talk, what about the current issues with the U.S. dollar? I mean, all these other countries who are making deals with each other to buy it in a different token or like coin, sorry. And what if it hyperinflates? A lot of crypto coins are based on U.S. dollars or value wise. I mean, if you don't have at least some of your portfolio in gold or metals or something, what happens then?
So you're talking about the BRICS nations working on de-dollarizing. So there's two groups here, right? There's one group that I think it's going to happen very quickly, like within the next 6 or 12 months, that the dollar is just going to be knocked off as king, and the yuan, the Chinese yuan is going to be taking over the world as the reserve currency. Now you have to look at the CCP, right? The CCP is not a democracy. It is there's one guy at the top who's in charge, and then you have a lot of people below him that yes sir, they give him information. If he doesn't like the information, psh. So the dollar for when you're talking about Wall Street and money, like big money, billions and billions and trillions of dollars, I think you're going to feel safer still in the US dollar, even though we're having some inflation problems right now. I do think de-dollarization is going to happen and is happening, but I don't think it's going to happen at the speed people think it's going to. I think this is going to take some time, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But you have Argentina and Brazil. They're working on a token to trade amongst themselves. You have Russia and China. 70% of their trade now is between the Russian ruble and the digital yuan. India is the same thing. And you have to understand all of these other nations, up to 60 other nations that want to join BRICS Plus, such as the UAE, Egypt, Afghanistan, Iran, all of these countries that want to come in and join BRICS, they're going to have to join their new network, right? This new digital currency network that has been built out outside of SWIFT, right? So with Russia got, so this is how all of this happened, guys. When Russia invaded Ukraine, there was 11,000 sanctions put on Russia. Like 1,190 of them came from the U.S., but a lot of them came from other countries. And basically, it locked Russia out of like $300 to $600 billion. Right? They can't access that money, and so if you're the leader of of Egypt or Abu Dhabi or whatever the country is, and you're looking at this and you're saying, man, if I do something that the United States or its allies don't like, they are going to freeze me out of my money. So all of these other nations that are joining BRICS are going to be using their new financial system that they've been building out here. I talk about it in my Sensei chats. I can't remember what I don't think it actually has a name, but what it's going to be partly backed by gold, and it's kind of like their SDR, right? You're going to have all of their currencies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. You're going to have a bag of their currencies and gold backed up by this whole digital new network. And I do believe, you can kind of limit down to what kind of cryptocurrency they're going to be using, or digital asset they're going to be using to move this value across the planet. It can only be one of, so many, right, guys? You only have, you only have 6 to 7 ISO compliant tokens at this point, right? You have XRP, you have XLM. I guess Cardano is one. Constellation DAG is supposed to be ISO compliant. You got Algorand, IOTA. I'm missing one or two there, but if you dig into those, you start to understand, well, which one's a bridge asset. Now you're only dealing with one or two, right? And so you can really kind of dig deep and really find out what assets are going to be used in this new BRICS network. And we're getting super off topic right now, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm going to guide it back because that's a good one, Robert. So this is good information, everybody. And this is something that I believe, if you're going to be an angel investor, some of this information you need to know. If you just won the lottery and say, hey, I got 10 grand, I'm going to go drop on this crypto, but I have no idea what it's about, you're probably not an angel, in my opinion. And we had some comments earlier, and they're talking about the different level of investing, where an angel should be somebody who has the intelligence, the skill, the education. Then you have like the early investor who get in just at the ICOs. Then maybe a whitelist or something after that, then your regular investors. But maybe a tiered level of education and information should be required to be an angel investor. What do you guys think about that? And Zach, welcome. Sorry, let me interrupt. Zach, welcome to the party, brother. Glad you could join us.
He's on mute. I'm not sure if he knows.
He probably went off to fix a car.
Yeah.
I was trying to get there. Sorry, guys. I'm getting my video set up.
Cool.
No worries.
Welcome, brother.
Hey, thank you. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, good to
glad
have
to
you
be here. Yeah, I'm glad everybody else is here too. Pretty excited to. I don't know where you guys are at as far as. Hey, Robert.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, brother. You'll see me here in a second, though. You just see my handle there.
Absolutely. And Croc, man, I sent you a link. Hop in, brother. Jump up on stage with us, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, I think people that, just maybe made a lot of money real quick and are like, oh, looking to jump into something, they probably not even gonna understand or know what angel investing is, and they're probably not even gonna be aware that it's an option. I think like for people to really know about angel investing and getting into that, you somewhat have to be experienced and knowledgeable already, because otherwise you're going to be jumping in and just learning about what's going on. Oh, a pre-sale, a whitelist. Like, it's going to be too far gone past the angel round for you to even understand what that is, I think. So it's also about finding projects early enough to get into that angel round, right? Luckily, we still have that option open because we're a little bit more of like a private club, you could say. And have very limited amount of NFTs and everything like that. But yeah, I think it's something that you kind of have to have the knowledge of already coming into it.
Croc said it good right here. Being an angel investor requires a combination of financial resources, business acumen, industry experience, risk tolerance, patience, and networking skills. Croc should be on the stage right now because
that does have a link.
That is a perfect. The perfect paragraph to describe what you need to actually be an angel investor. You need to understand, you need to have all of those skills. Croc.
Well done, sir. And yes, Croc, please jump on, man. I sent you the link. Hop up here. I'd love to hear from you, brother. And yeah, this is what I really wanted to understand, because when you look at the analog system finances, what they call an angel investor is just, you have to be stupid rich, basically stupid. But in the DeFi space, we seem to have a much higher level of expectation from our angels. And I don't think just an early investor should, quote, qualify as an angel investor. So, Zach,
Yeah.
want to hear your opinion on this, brother? Now that you
Yeah,
joined
yeah,
us.
yeah. Thanks. No, I have a lot of. So in my business, my company, some of my companies, I should say, in real life, they, the network that I get in those companies and that I've made with those companies has expanded me and my network all the way into Web3, which is crazy. So I kind of like have a mix of Web3, Web2, and real life network to where it's like I'll have people from real life help me in Web3 and they don't even know it, you know? And so, uh, anyways, so I think is when it comes down to like angel investing and VCs and, you know, some of that network, believe it or not, some of my clients are you know, VC fund managers, VC accounting firms, Silicon Valley software engineers. One of my business partners was, um, he's, I say my business partner, we're getting ready to go to business together. We're doing something really unique, but he was a software engineer in Silicon Valley and he ends up moving up to a little town in Montana where I'm at. You know, it's just crazy. And then we meet and we're doing business together. But he ended up getting got bought out by GoDaddy, I'm sorry, not GoDaddy, not that one. It was GoFundMe. Um, anyways, so he's got a network too, right? So through all these networks, I've met and got introduced to quite a few wealthy people that are actually seed investors because a lot of these guys that own businesses and are partners and some of my partners, they're all seed investors as well. So it's very interesting to see the difference from seed or angel investing in traditional finance or real life versus decentralized finance. You know, you're looking at a 10-year return on a VC round. You know that you park your funds there and give them some sort of risk management, and then they go to work for you, and you might not see a return in 10 to 20 years on a decent return, and it might only be double your money, not, you know, I mean, sometimes in DeFi it's, you know, 10, 20x. So,
Or more with
you know,
Pepe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's funny you say Pepe. Oh boy. Oh man. Chrome knows what I'm thinking of right now, and he's not here.
He's not. Yeah, he ran away.
Yeah, remind me to tell you about that later.
Okay, we'll do.
Did you make
Something
some
off
money or
topic.
what?
I'm gonna make some money.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
I think. But we'll talk about that. I just got some stuff laid out to me that. Sorry guys in the audience, I'm not gonna tell you. This is not collective finance related.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
anyways,
you know, this is an open forum. I mean, it's not just collective. We've got
Yeah.
people from
Yeah,
Cryptonaires.
yeah.
We got everything. So you're welcome to say whatever you want, Zach.
Uh-huh.
I'll let you,
Yeah.
brother.
Right. Anyways, I'm not telling nobody about this one. No.
Damn
You
it.
better, you better
Hush, hush.
DM me, man. You better DM me after this. I want to know.
Yeah. I'm going to actually because
We'll have
I'm
an
looking
after party show. We're
There
okay
you
with
go.
that.
Yeah, I'll just send you, Robert. I'll send you a link actually.
Thank you.
Send that over to me
And
too,
same
Zach,
with
please.
you.
Thank
Same
you.
with you guys.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's. I was talking to Chrome yesterday. I was like, it's meme season, man. It's
It
meme
is.
season.
Absolutely. And so now, something we talked about earlier is with the angel investors is getting in early before, of course, the ICOs, before the whitelist, things like that. Now, Zach brings up a good point about the meme season, and like we talked about Pepe, if you could have gotten into that 3 weeks ago, before it would hit the news, before anybody knew, the question is, where do you guys find these? Where is a good place for people in the audience or myself or anybody else to go out and find these brand new projects when they're getting formed, when they're getting built? How do we locate these? How do we get connected?
The only way that you can
Your
find
network.
these like meme coin, yeah, it's network and also Twitter. Like that's literally it. If
That's
you're in
it.
Discord groups, if you're in the right Twitter groups, if you're following the right people, that's the only way. Or unless you're a really good researcher and you're consistently at your computer researching 24/7, like literally constantly, that's like the only way you'll find it, or just being in the right places at the right time.
That's okay.
Yeah. Unless you guys are doing lots of research. It's literally sensei, but a lot of it boils down to luck, being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people, being in the right group, following the right Twitter accounts. It's like, it's all a gamble. It's all luck. That's really it with a lot of these meme coins and stuff.
And you guys got to remember that like 98 to 99% fail, right?
Right.
Or scam, they're scams, or they fail, or whatever, right? So you know, it's kind of like playing the lottery, really is, right?
Yep.
When you're investing in something like under 100K market cap, it, you know, and I can't tell you how much I've invested into some DGen projects, you know, in previous years, and you know, they go up and then they rug, and they go up and they rug, and so like I just got tired of it, and I was like, man, if I would have just put this money into something, you know, like a tier one asset and wait 5-10 years, that I'm going to make so much more money on those assets than I would have just trying to play this DGen market. But being in the right communities is key. The hard part about it is certain Telegram groups, they do have scammers. And so, you know, you might get in there and you might say, oh, this is the link for Pepe. And if you don't double or triple check the link, you're going to be buying into a honeypot or a scam. So,
Yep.
you know, it's about connections. It's about community, like what was said. And it's pretty much dumb luck, right? You know, getting it is really
dumb luck.
Right. And because I've been on BSC scan and different ones, CoinGecko and all those, it's like, oh, this token just listed. Okay, I'll throw $5 at it. And it has a quick little spike and then runs. Or it spikes up and then you can't sell. It doesn't let you. It's like there's so many different things out there. So I think this media out there is really pushing this. Hey, this guy bought $400 worth of Pepe 3 weeks ago, cashed out for 3.1 million 3 weeks later. It's like, and we see that. And I think it's that alluring, quick, fast money to get into it that really gets a lot of people hyped up, but it also wrecks them because they put $100 in real quick. That's all they had. And it's gone the next day. It's like, oh my God.
You also got to remember too, for every buyer, there's a seller. So when you're selling your token for 10x the price that you bought it at, somebody else is buying it at that level, like off of you essentially, right? So like it's all like a trading game, right? So somebody else is taking a massive loss on that. So it's kind of like PvP a little bit.
Gotcha. Right. I heard somebody start talking. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. And we've had a lot of good comments come across here and some good questions. So I want to go back because Lynn, my wife, love you there, threw something up. Says, with the push of higher technology and digital everything, what happens if the post-apocalyptic scenario happens? What happens to a lot of the digital assets? Do we face a second Great Depression? Interesting, because this is one of that thing that the media is pushing is that, oh man, the whole world's going to crash. We're going to be rolling wheelbarrows of money to buy groceries.
Well, she's talking about a couple different things here. So one is the banking system, right? That is basically insolvent, right? The banking system is totally broken. I mean, there's so many other things other than them being upside down $620 billion. You know, a lot of them have loans for businesses, right? And if you look at the occupation rates of businesses in like San Francisco, down 30%, right? So there's a lot of businesses that are just walking away from their office buildings, right? And so you're the office space and all of these things, these banks own, and they're not getting anything back in return from it, right? So you're talking about, you know, unrealized losses, and those come from investing in longer securities, like what happened with Silicon Valley Bank. They put like 50 to $80 billion in a 10-year treasury bill. And it was at like a 1.3 or 1.5%, and they were offering their savings account like 0.25 or 0.40. And if you can go to a money market fund right now and get 4 or 5%, so that is what you're seeing. You're seeing money leaving, you know, traditional banking systems to go into money market funds because the rates are just astronomical right now, right? And so you have the real estate issue. You have this, but you also have bankruptcies up 50% already too, right? And then you have mortgages that are not fixed rate, right, that are going up. And so people now that were paying, you know, $2,000 for a mortgage, now it's double or double and a half, right? Now they're paying $4 or $5 grand, and maybe they can't afford it, and so they start walking away from their homes, right? So there's a whole bunch of other things that apply here, and it's not just the market. So remember, every time the Fed pivots, the stock market's going to crash. Just be prepared for that. It's history. If you go back in history and you look at it, it 9 out of 10 times it dips at least 30%. So just be very careful.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, they were talking about a couple different things here. It was talking a grid collapse. So, Croc, what is a grid collapse? Can somebody educate me? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I've actually never heard about that.
Is she talking about the electrical grid, like a cyber attack, or an EMP?
It was a follow-up to that question. Said heard a lot of people were avoiding crypto for this reason, and that's where Croc asked if this was a grid collapse. So, not quite sure. That's why I thought maybe one of you guys might be able to enlighten me on this, because today's show is all about learning, and so I'm trying to learn because I don't know what an angel investor is, and some of these things I really don't know, even as much time as I spend here. So this is really cool.
Grid collapse. Let me just Google it.
So now let me ask you guys. Of course, getting into something like we talked about earlier it's a crapshoot in a lot of ways. And so being an angel investor, I mean, you're going in before a project has launched, before it's kind of still in the thinking, nurturing. Maybe it might work, maybe it won't. I mean, how do you guys feel about the risk factor of going into something that early? What do you look for? What are your warning signs?
Oh man, I think it depends on what's your personal, what's your personal risk factor? Like what do you have set up personally? Because that's going to determine what your thinking is. I mean, if you're already an angel investor, typically they all kind of have the same idea. It's like, there are some that are more controlling than others, so they'll try to pick up a larger position so that they have more of a say. I mean, I think that I think that has to do with like part of their personality, their risk factor, and some other contributing factors on why one would do that. Some people like to own majority of a project. That's why they are an angel investor, and then they'll sit back and say nothing, So it just depends on the person, I think.
And I mean, one important thing, at least for me, is getting in touch with the people who run the show. I mean, are they willing to go on video, or are they willing to show their face? And just like keep it real kind of thing. Social media, how many followers, how many likes, when was it created? I mean,
you look for bots, right? A lot of it could be bots, right? You got to look at the comments and actually who's commenting, how often they're posting. Because a lot of it can be and is bots, right? So
or chatters, they're the worst.
Yeah.
Chatters, yeah.
There's just so. Right now, guys, like I would really be focusing. I know a lot of people are in kind of meme coin fever, but they're pushing MiCA, which is the regulation for the European Union, into 2023, into 2024. So the US is going to have to do its own regulation just to keep up, right? Because you can't have the European Union with crypto regulation and the US without it. So they're going to meet at the same time here, and it's coming pretty quickly. We're already kind of 5 months into 2023. So I know a lot of us we want to a lot of us want to make millions of dollars very quickly, and probably the best way people think they can do that is with meme coins. But in the end, unless you're a part of a really great community that has a lot of really good researchers, if you're just doing this on your own, or you're listening to your friend who's got a friend whose brother told them about something, I think you just need to rethink your strategy there. And do the research yourself, right? Don't listen to anybody. I tell people I show you research so you can research it yourself, right? I kind of point you in the right direction, but you need to understand what you're investing in, and don't just invest in anything just because your friend says it's going to be the next big thing. You need to understand why it's going to be the next big thing, or even ask them why did they think it's going to be the next big thing, and let your friend tell you. Right. The biggest problem is people. It's the word of mouth, and it's the fear. It's the fear of missing out. Right. And that's really the crux of the game.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, you're just joining us. So right above me here is Crypto Sensei, or Robert Doyle, and he runs the Cryptonaires Discord. Now, I've been a member there for a year and a half, quite a while. And literally that's where I go to learn, because he is like there every day, all day, learning this stuff. And there's so much information that we see and hear in the newspapers, on the news, things like that. It's not accurate. It's so behind the time. and it's controlled by a major media source, BlackRock. So you can't always trust it, because by the time I heard it on the news, it's already happened. It's passed. So if information is what you're after, definitely check out Cryptonaires, because yeah, Robert spends a lot of time here. So getting this information from him, I would take it to heart. Don't just listen to Bob at the water cooler, because that guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I always pick on Bob at the water cooler, and I don't even know a Bob. But
Poor Bob, yeah.
Yeah, poor guy. So no, this is really good information to get out there. And so that's one of the things I wanted to find out about angel investors, because we are all trying to get in. We're trying to make some money on this. We're trying to change our lives. And most of us really have no idea what to do, where to start, or how to connect with these kind of protocols or projects.
Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to find a community where you feel comfortable and you can learn it and grow. Doing this yourself is quite impossible unless you're full time like me. Like unless you have 10, 12 hours a day to just stare at a computer screen, go through white papers, go through PDFs, read news articles, watch YouTube videos. Unless you have that type of time, you need to really join a group where people have that type of time and can add value, right? Being a part of the right group is really the best piece of advice I can give you. And I mean, I'm not saying my group, I'm just saying go where you feel most comfortable and where you can learn the best. And that is where you're going to, that's where you're going to grow, right? I had a guy join like last month or whatever, and he said he learned more in the first 7 days than he learned in the last 9 months of him doing this himself, right? So being a part of a group is really going to take your knowledge to the next level, and it's going to really change the way that you look and you see things, right? You're going to be able to learn new ways and ideas to research stuff, and that's really when you start leveling up your game, and that's really when you can become a real angel investor and you can understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I think some of the best advice is to like find people that you connect with, or groups, friends, like pretty much anything. And exactly like Cryptonaires is one of those places for some people, and it might not be for you, but it might be for you. But just like, yeah, find that place that you feel comfortable with and that you connect with people and that you can kind of trust, build that relationship, and continue to grow and, help each other out. I think that's kind of key. And that's why I love, doing community stuff and chatting with people and all these people up here. So it's great.
Perfect. And so that leads me to a question I want to ask each of you. And sorry, Robert, but we got to take Cryptonaires off the table for this question. So I'm going to set that one aside.
Okay.
So Robert, aside from Cryptonaires, what is your next community that you learn the most from, or you find the most rewarding?
My next community?
Your network. Where's the next source in your network besides Cryptonaires that you learn from?
Bro, like I'd love to say that I have a team of people that send me stuff and like I learn from them, but like I'm doing all this hard work myself, right? And so I don't really have a ton of time to spend in other communities. To be perfectly frank with you,
That's okay.
I do watch. I think a good value add here would be finding the right people to follow on Twitter and YouTube that put out good content that don't shill you, projects. If somebody's saying, "Hey, I'm buying into X, Y, and Z," it's great. They're getting paid on the back end to shill you this project, right? If you're getting shilled projects, right, for no reason, you want to stay away from those people. Because those people are in it for themselves. They're in it to make money. They're not in it to educate you, right? So finding the right people to follow, finding the right channels to learn from is probably the best advice I can give you. I really don't have another community that I get into and I engage too much. I've been talking in Crypto Lulu's chat a bit, going back and forth. But bro, like,
That's okay. That's
yeah.
I knew it'd be a hard question for you, but I had to throw it at you.
Another thing, though, I mean, if people are pushy or insistent, that should also be a red flag.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful about like exactly with what you were saying, Robert, like finding the correct people, the right people to follow, because there are tons out there that are basically just pump and dumpers, or people that use their followers as like exit liquidity or use them to pump their own bags. And they're not transparent. 99% of the time, that's like majority of the people on Twitter, and those are the people that are promoting like, oh, check out this next 10, 100,000 X coin, whatever. They've already bought in, and they're waiting for you to buy more so that it pumps their bags. Like that's majority of the people on Twitter. Like that's what you really got to be careful of, is finding the people that are providing actual knowledge. Like, are they making a thread about the project? Are they like talking about exactly like the utilities, or are they just saying, look at this, check it out, new 10x? Like, then yeah, you really gotta find out.
I can tell you this: I've been offered so much money on the side to hey, I'll give you 15 or 20% of whatever your community invests into our project.
Yeah.
Immediate block. Immediate block. Like, there's no other words that I'm going to talk to you about. Like, there should be no situation where there's a referral link where you're making money off of people coming in. Now, there are situations that are like with nodes, actual real nodes, where you actually need a referral code to actually buy a node. There's a project that I just talked about yesterday in my community called Delicium. Delicium is a really cool AI metaverse node project, and you can't get into that project or buy a node unless you have a referral code. So that is like one of the only situations where I would like say, hey guys, and I'm transparent about it too. I say like, hey, this is my referral code. You don't have to use it. You can use whatever you want. But when people start offering you money, and I've been offered $500 to show projects. I've been offered $1,000 to show projects. I won't take the money, because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. And if I don't believe in it, I shouldn't be trying to talk to you about it, because now I'm in the wrong here. And that is not what we're here to do. We're here to learn. We're here to get educated. We're here to really make a change in our lives. And that's the most important thing. And any type of situation where like, hey, click on my referral code, to buy into this meme coin, fucking run, just run.
Yeah.
Good advice. And so I want to interject here, because there's one thing I want to throw out there just for people that don't know. I know most of you guys already know this, but for the community, if you're just watching this on record, I want to share something in my personal world, which is the contract I personally run with. Now, I know Zach's seen this, Chrome's run this. So this is the contract I send to any project. So as I always say, if it's a sponsored video, one, I always warn you up front. It's sponsored. Two, I always give you my honest opinion. And so right here in the conditions is basically I have to meet with the people. But number three, I do not show or pump or will indicate to my viewers exactly what I think. And I think that's really important, like these guys are talking about, is if somebody is not telling you their honest opinion, whether it's excitement or not, then find somebody else. Not saying you have to follow me, but definitely find somebody that you believe in. If they give you your spider senses are tingling, something's not okay, I wouldn't advise it, because there are too many content creators, too many people out there. Just like Chrome said a little bit ago, if you're buying, they're selling. They're the seller. So don't let them be your seller. So find somebody you believe in and definitely go for the education. For me personally, I'm really critical about that. I learned it from Yabonks. The guy's been an awesome mentor. Thank you so much, Yabonks. But yeah, this is something within my contract that I require, is that level of honesty and transparency. And if people don't let me have that, they don't let me say exactly what I think, I'm not going to deal with it. And like Robert's talking, I have turned down multiple projects like, hey, we're going to give you this. And I'm like, no, you're not. Later. Have a nice day. I just won't do it. So yes, great advice there.
Yeah, some people will come to you and be like, hey, I need you to say this, and that about my project. Here's X amount of dollars. And it's like, well, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Later. Doors that way. Have a good one. Yeah,
exactly.
So, Zach, I'm curious, buddy. So you are always like on the cutting edge of information. So aside from Cryptonaires, because we all know Cryptonaires is awesome. We all love them to death. And I strongly promote them every chance I get. What do you find is your biggest source of information outside on your network? What's your biggest strength?
Outside of my networking, or do you mean like
outside of the Cryptonaires network, or the network on the screen? How's that?
Oh gosh. Quite honestly, man, I've been working on networking for several years. And so I've got a network around the world that I tap into on the daily. So, man, I got to tell you, it's not like Robert said, it's not like nobody's done this for me. It's all hard work.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, I don't say that lightly, man. It's hard work and a lot of money spent. A lot of money spent. A lot of money lost, right? That's when I say a lot of money spent, it was gone. It's gone. So, uh, I took a lot of, everything you said just a few minutes ago. Um, just because I'm typing away here doesn't mean I'm not listening.
Okay.
I'll say that that's all 100% spot on. When you invest into a project or, you know, uh, your buddy tells you about something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna jump into it, and then you end up losing your butt on it. It's it's not a smart thing to do. I've done it when I got in. I didn't know any different, so but I was swinging ten, $20,000 investments that ended up just eating my lunch. So um, after a couple of them, I made a lot of money in them, but didn't realize that there was just like a pump and dump scheme. So hence why we started what we did. But I think I mean, beyond the guys here in this stream, I mean, man, I know quite a few people on the blockchain, like higher end developers and folks that are working on blockchains themselves, and it's just been crazy how it's kind of came together because I didn't have a network that big when I started in DeFi, but I had a pretty good network in real life. I mean, I work with folks that are developing anything from soil testing technology to artificial intelligence to higher end government people that are doing government contracts to folks that are building stuff for the military to some of the biggest VC fund managers to, I mean, it's all over. And I think a lot of it has to do with where I live. I live in a very sought after area that I grew up here in the area. I'm over by Big Fork, in like there's Flathead Lake around us, and it's huge. It's big, beautiful area, and a lot of folks have kind of moved up here. And so I think, me growing up here, I knew all the ins and outs of the areas. I knew who was who, and I know who was kind of the locals. And over time, it was when they were moving in here, these folks with more money and, uh, had a different life than I did growing up in a small town. They would have to like pay and kind of include you to get into the local network. So then they would have to kind of like tap into, they'd have to hire, some of my friends in order for me to, even talk to them. It's like, hey, put up or shut up. So, and over time that just develops, and then before you know it, I say stuff about manifesting a lot because I think that it's a real thing. I think it's true. I think people might think I'm crazy, but manifesting I think has to do with your inner conscious, and not everybody understands the depth of that. But even when you're manifesting, it doesn't mean that you're just like putting the energy out there and it's just magically happening. You're actually doing it and you don't even know it because it's in your conscience and you're just constantly working towards it every day. And it doesn't have to do with anybody else lining it up. It has to do with you lining it up internally, and you don't even really pay attention to it. And before you know it, you look up and you go, oh, whoa, there it is. And I'm going to share a little story real quick about what happened. Okay, guys. So I have one of these companies that, and this guy's a great guy. He would be okay with me sharing this. I have one of my companies that does fabrication, and we do like R&D on different types of manufacturing for like off-road equipment, and just trying to build something new, unique, something different. And so I had this idea of building these vans, and these sprinter vans, off-road sprinter vans, for a higher crowd that folks that want to be protected, they want to have security surveillance, and then they still want to be, they're kind of introvert guys that don't want to travel on airplanes and whatnot. There's a lot of people out there. So we wanted to start this company for that. And one of the things in the vans we were going to do was offer a a line of, personal protection equipment for, say you were to say there was a really scary situation like what happened in Vegas where somebody started shooting into the crowd, then you could run into your van, grab your gear, and at least go help the people that you can. And, you might still be at danger, but you're a lot better off than anybody else. So I had kind of this idea of, offering a high quality van. Well, there's a company in particular, and this is actually some of my gear here.
Nice.
But this is one of the companies, and I train as well, just for the fun of it. I'm in Montana, but I had spent lots of money on their gear, and because I really liked it, and I thought, you know what, I'd really like to use this company for my vans. So a year goes by, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I just kept buying their gear, kept talking to folks. Before I know it, these guys moved to my town. Didn't even know it. Like they moved their entire company to my hometown, and it happened within the 6 months from when I thought it up a year ago to now, right? So about 6 months ago, they moved their whole operation here, which was that was the first step to like, oh my gosh, okay, this might get a little bit more real. Okay, so here's where it gets weird. So I'm sitting there talking to a guy, and he goes, and he's one of my close friends, and he goes, yeah, I actually know the guy over there that kind of runs the show. And I thought, wow, that's cool. We'll tell him that if he ever wants to talk to me about vans, I'd love to talk to him about offering some of his gear in my vans. And long story short, I get a phone call in like 6 months later, and it was this guy that's kind of in charge. He's in charge over there. And then before you know it, like he's got one of my companies, we do diesel and custom work. So he ends up calling me. He says, hey, I need my truck worked on. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this is wild. And he brings his truck, and come to find out, he bought the house two doors down from me.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
So not only did I, want to use this stuff for my company, but now the guy, he's like actually now one of my close friends, and he lives 2 doors down from me. And this all happened within like 3 months ago.
That's crazy.
So that's the power of what you can actually do, even though that seems like something just fell out of the sky, which it kind of, just happened that way. But imagine like if, being an angel investor too, I tap into all these ideas, all of them, everything you can think of that's a variable, what the project looks like, how they're going to do things, what's the personality of the folks running it, are they irrational, are they I won't get into politics, but what are their views, and how does it look, are they innovative, are they heading in a good direction, are they, all these things that come into play. I'm way more alert on those type of things, and I think it has to do with just kind of how I've kind of lived my life as well. So, I'm kind of a unique introvert guy. I have no problem talking to people, but if I prefer to be alone, because that's where I can think the best, right? So, yeah, man, I know that's a little bit off topic, but trust me,
That's
it all
okay.
it all plays in though. It really does. I mean, it's all linked. Everything's a big link. It's like a network. You can think of a network like a blockchain. Everything. Oh, hold on, my kids just walked in.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, Croc's been saying kind of the same thing. It's all
Yeah.
about who you know and stuff like that. And so, Zach, I know you're a huge proponent of networking, and it sounds like you are too, Robert. And Chrome, you and I have chatted a lot. So, Rebel, I'm really curious about you, buddy. As far as you being an angel, which you are, but also what type of wealth do you get out of that network from other angels and from being participated in those type of communities?
Huh. Well, I mean, the network I have that I rely on most, I actually formed when I was in Seifu. I mean, some of the more active people, in the chat there, we formed a group together, and that's where I get most of my network from. But then as I enter new projects and stuff, maybe I meet someone that's great to network with, or maybe I don't. I think Chrome's probably the best contact I've made in a while, though.
Chrome's a
Yeah, I
good
love
guy.
chatting with Rebel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah. Chrome's a good dude.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. So, sorry, Zach, did you have more you wanted to add, brother? I know your son came in, so I just kind of shifted for a second there.
No, it's fine, man. I mean, Chrome's been with us for a long time. So, I mean, he's been with us since, I don't know. He's been working with us for a
Probably
while.
like almost 2 years, something like that. Getting pretty long now.
Exclusive. Like that's it. We've only been, yeah, I won't talk about pay, but yeah, he's with us for a long time, and he's not going anywhere, I hope.
No, definitely not.
Zach and I have also had some nice conversations too. So
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. So, what you guys telling? So, for the people who are just tuning in or just viewing, we started talking about the angel investors because I didn't know what they were, and I wanted to know what it took to be an angel investor versus the traditional finances versus digital finances. And what we're finding out once we dig below the surface, and that's something I highly recommend everybody do. Do your own research, dig below the surface, the news articles, things like that. And Robert's a huge proponent of this to definitely dive deep, learn about it. But you guys are saying that one of the real wealth in this industry is your network, your knowledge, your team, your group.
Yeah, your network is your net worth, man.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And Croc definitely agrees with that. So I want to get back to the angel investing. So I've got to ask you guys a couple more questions. I won't keep you too much longer. No more than 3 hours, I promise.
3.
I know that was pretty late for me. I usually go much longer, but so a lot of new people like myself, we don't have a lot of money. We don't have $5 or $10 or $100,000. So I'm really curious as to what is the smallest level of entry that you guys have experienced in your experience in the crypto space to hit a level investor. What's the minimum cap that you found in any past experiences?
Well, I mean, with Seifu, that was $3,000, and that did really well. I mean, because of that one decision, I'm able to exist in the crypto space. I mean, I'm not like one of those multimillionaire guys, but I mean, I think, in my opinion, you'd want someone who was more savvy and more in possession of more sense than the average person, than someone who just throws money at stuff.
Okay. What about you, Chrome?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Just give me 1 second. My girlfriend just showed up with the Starbucks, so I'm nice and happy now.
Oh, you're fine. Okay. I come back to you. That's okay. I'll pick on Robert for a second. Robert, what's your lowest entry to being an angel?
Well, I mean, everyone has a different budget, right? Everyone is different situational, right? So you really need to figure out kind of what is your entire budget you're going to spend in crypto, right? So let's say your budget is $500, right? What I would do is I would, you'd have to have a plan of, is this a short-term investment or a long-term investment, right? And really, if I only had $500, I would probably put half of it in real like tier 1 assets like your XRPs and your XLMs and just sit on that and wait. And then now you have $250 to maybe $50 in each. You pick 5 projects that you think will do well, and then you go into those projects. If it 100%, you take your $50 out and you let the rest ride, right? That's a strategy that I've used many times, but always taking out your initial investment and then letting it free ride should be like the number one thing you're thinking of, right? Getting your capital out, what you've already put in, maybe plus a little bit of profit, and then letting the rest ride. That is always a very good strategy when you're talking about having not as much money to put into the market, right? Because you have to be very careful with your pennies and your dollars because you don't have a lot to waste. Okay, so I'd just be very sure of what you're putting your thing in, but I would really split it up, right? Because if you put all $500 that you have in DGen and it's all gone, now you have nothing invested in actually stuff that might actually go from 50 cents to $1,000, overnight because of the whole world starts to use it or something like that, right? Or everything is moving to the blockchain. That in my personal opinion, that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, that's great advice.
No, yeah, I think it really is like dependent on who you are, what your risk appetite is, how much capital you're working with and stuff. And I mean, in this example, like if you had $500, I probably wouldn't really advise like being an angel investor, but really just kind of playing in the market and finding out what's right for you, and whether that being trading, whether swing trading, investing in projects, diversifying, as Robert said, into multiple different strategies, and definitely looking into blue chips and some of those things that you think could really run in the bull run to stay safe. Because yeah, you might like maybe if it's your only $500 you get in as an angel investor, you might not see any return for a little bit, and that might not be what you're looking for, right? If it all just depends what your appetite is. If you're looking for quicker returns, more stuff, then hop into DeFi and start playing around, figure out what's right for you. But if you're there for the secure, long-term kind of passive income that you can, kind of maybe help throw in your ideas and just earn a nice steady rate over time, then maybe angel investing would be for you. But yeah, it really just depends who you are as a person and as an investor.
Well said.
Nice. What about you, Zach? What do you got up there, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I basically think of, angel investments. I've entered in many different dollar form or dollar amounts, I should say. Usually there's like a tiered deck when you go to enter. You could enter in this, or this amount, and typically the higher amounts got the best sort of deal. And personally, I usually try to, if I'm going to invest in something like that, I'm only investing when I can actually afford to lose. So, I mean, if I'm going to be looking to be an angel investor, typically that's dispensable income. That's something that you don't expect to get back. I mean, yeah, sure, you can here, like with what we're doing internally, my expectations are very high because I think what we've set up is very good and I can expect a return. That's why, we started it. But typically, rule of thumb is only invest what you can afford to lose, because that's my rule of thumb. That's my opinion. That's what I drove inside me. Taped it on my forehead, like invest what you can afford to lose after you lost six figures. I mean, it's when you lose six figures, it sucks in trading. It's not fun. And, even if you don't have that to start with, I didn't have that to start with. I made, 10x on 10 grand, or more. Actually more. But anyways, regardless, when I lost a bunch of money, it was just dumb things that I did, learning the space, didn't quite understand. I understood finance a bit, but I didn't really understand the tech and crypto, right? And that's where it got me, was hacks. Hacks. I lost 40 grand, or 30, roughly around 35 grand total to hacks, because it was just some stupid website I clicked on and I didn't know. And and back then I was on top of the world. So, but I think, like I said, goes back to only invest what you can afford to lose, and think of it like dispensable income, because it has to be something that, if you're going to be an angel investor, I feel like that's the mindset you should have. Don't have high expectations, because, I have never had high expectations. I just thought, if it works out, it works out, and guess what? 90% of the ones I've invested in today haven't worked out. So, now the 10% that have, I was a lot smarter about it, and I'm concluding part of that 10% is our project, because it's working out. And, I'm super excited. Angel investments are really awesome, especially if you get behind a project that you can trust. You might still look at it like, it's something that is just gone and poof in the air and gone. But guess what? When you start to realize investments, or you start to realize your investment and you start to see a return, and you then do what Robert says and take your initial out like you should, then it's like, okay, wow, this is now came into fruition. This was a good decision. I'm a good angel investor now, because I got some of my capital back, and now I'm going to go talk about it,
Yep.
And then that not only helps you, but then it helps your project as well blow up, because I mean, you get successful angel investors too. They're going to do all your work for you,
Yeah, word of mouth is some of the best marketing and, you know, best way to spread the name of a project. So
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
I mean, my point being just with the angel investors is just be smart about it. I mean, really pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, if, the only way to be an angel investor, it's not like you have to like check all these boxes like we talked about in the beginning. I don't know if I, agree 100% on everything. I just thought to myself was, I didn't know all that stuff as an angel investor, but I can tell you right now that I wish I would have because but the only thing back then was I didn't have these resources like these conversations we're talking about right now. They were not available. They were not available. I mean, people were just like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to talk about what could not happen. Let's just talk about what could happen and throw your money in here." So I was like, "Phew, this is great, man. I'm looking at the upside only." And yeah, no, these were not good conversations, and the ones we're having now, that's what you should be looking for, I think. People that are going to tell you the truth.
Can I add
Go
one
ahead.
thing here? So guys, remember, you're investing in a very small market of new technology, right? If you ask any hedge fund or big investor when they invest in new companies, right? If 80% of those fail and 20% of them become like unicorns or billion-dollar companies, that's where they make their money back, right? You're never going to win all the time. But if you can make, 2 or 3 out of 10, and those 2 or 3 will cover the 10 that you've lost, the 7 that you've lost, that's really how you need to be looking at this. You're never going to win 100% of the time, ever, right? That is just plain straight math, unless you're an absolute genius or from the future. And I haven't seen one of those people yet. But understand this: you're gonna lose, and when you lose, don't get down on yourself. Understand why you lost, how you lost, learn from that mistake, and that way next time you have a better understanding of what you're getting into, right? You really need to understand that you are going to lose in this space. A lot of this technology might not work in the end. A lot of developers make a lot of promises and they don't deliver, right? Smart contracts fail, or a dev leaves, or anything can happen in this space. So just, you really need to understand that you want to obviously win more than you lose, but if you do the right research, you can become a person where you're on the more winning side than the losing side. All right. And
Make
hey,
new mistakes, not old ones.
exactly. I do got to jump up. I got my 20-year high school reunion today in about an hour and a half.
That's awesome.
I just aged myself now, 38. So
Still
you
young,
guys
buddy.
have a good rest of the chat. Thank you for allowing me to.
Thank
just
you,
be a
Robert. It's
part
been
of
a
this.
pleasure, buddy.
It's always an honor to speak with you, Serenity and Zach and Chrome and Rebel. Thank you guys so much. And if I can be of any service or help to anybody, even if you don't want to join the Discord, you don't want to join anything, if you send me a message on Twitter about anything, I'll get back to you. You don't need to spend money to get access or ask me a question. I'll answer whatever I can. I did link the Me6. We have a new sign up thing for Me6 and discounts. I did link it into the chat here. I don't know if it went, but
I didn't see it. If you want to throw it in the private chat, I'll make sure to post it for you, Robert.
yeah, here, maybe it blocked it, probably because what's it called. But I just want to thank everybody for listening, and if I can do anything for you, please let me know. And thank you so much, Serenity, for the invite. All right.
Thank you, brother. It's always a pleasure, my man. And you enjoy your high school reunion, and you're not that old. I'm over 50, so yeah, I got you beat, brother.
Hey, we're all still young guns out here. All right. So
Exactly.
have a great day.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
Hey,
Yeah.
the pleasure and the honor was mine. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
Robert.
brother.
Thanks,
Peace.
Robert.
Okay, so brought up a good point. I want to paste this link. Sorry, I can't do 3 things at once, guys. I'm still working on that.
No, it's all
I
right.
Really? You can't do 3 things at once?
I can't. Yes, my wife.
I'm
No,
doing I'm doing 3 things at once right now. I'm talking to you. I got my left hand tending to my Keurig and my right hand tending to Discord.
Perfect. There you go. I've got
Yeah.
5 screens, so I get confused when I start looking around. Yeah, go figure. So Robert brought up a good point there as far as when you lose, because that is one of the most devastating things that most people endure is, I only had $50. I put it into this thinking it was going to win, and it tanked in a day or something happened. especially for what I feel as small investors. Now, I'm sure bigger investors have the same emotional responses, but I'm really curious, how do you guys deal with the failures that we are going to feel? It's going to happen. I mean, that's just the way it is in this space. How do you guys deal with that?
Yeah, I'd say number one, don't look at them like a failure.
A learning
Sorry to be
experience.
hard on you,
No, good.
but no, I don't look at it as failures. I look at it as setbacks, because and maybe this is just an entrepreneurial type vision. I had this conversation with the guy yesterday. It's funny you say that. Like literally the exact same conversation yesterday. He was in for something else, and we got onto the conversation of crypto. You don't look at it like a failure. First of all, it's a setback. Now, how are you going to deal with that setback is you put your other foot right in front of the other, and then you go right back at it. But before you go back at it, make sure that you're a lot more aware, right? You should take a setback as a learning opportunity and capitalize on that learning opportunity. Now, it's going to create some sort of negative emotion naturally formed around what you would consider a failure, as we've all kind of been trained in life, right? We've all kind of been trained that these failures are something that's looked down upon. You miss a soccer goal, it's not a good thing, or you miss a field goal that's going to conclude a game and you could win the game, and it's not a good thing. But actually, it's actually a really good thing. And because of how we've been taught, a lot of folks don't know how to, approach those situations with a different outlook, just a different, how can you say that? Different way to look at things, right? I think that's number one.
Mindset.
Perspective. You got it. Perspective. That's what I was looking for. So you want to look for a different perspective. And I think it just comes down to like how we were brought up, how we were raised, how we were taught, in our culture, that's how we were taught. So I think don't look at it like a failure. I would look at it like a setback. And then when you go back into the ring again, you got to make sure that you're more prepared this time, and make sure that, you're following what I like to follow is the 80-20. Robert talked about the 80-20. Have I followed it forever? No. Do I follow it all times? No. But I really like to try to follow that that rule. You want to keep 80% of your assets stable, which I would consider now probably I'm keeping 80 of mine in the gold, and I try not to keep much in the dollar. But anyways, everything's tangible for me. I have a lot of tangible assets. I don't have a lot of liquid assets. A lot of things are in investments. But I would say, 80-20. Put 80 if it's stables or gold. Put 80 of it there, and then the 20% of it you can, if you're a newer investor into DeFi, you're not going to be doing much, leveraging or anything. But make sure if you're going to do it, it's 20%. 20%. Don't do it all, because you'll lose your bag. Trust me.
That's for sure.
I've learned the hard way. Yeah, it doesn't work well. So, Chrome, you're kind of a younger generation, buddy, and so an old, wiser person like I'm not going to say me, like Zach over there, because he's wiser than I am, obviously. I'm still too much of a degen. So how do you feel as far as the setbacks or the challenges that you face within the crypto space when things don't go right? Do you feel that maybe you feel it more deeper to your core, or it rolls off a little easier and it's easier to get back on task?
Yeah, so like kind of actually, as Lynn said, it like just popped up like a minute ago, but I kind of see everything as more of like a lesson, as like you can grow from it and learn from it and make sure to not make that same mistake again, and also be able to understand like why you lost or what happened. And yeah, so I see a lot of it more as like a learning opportunity, and I try not to get like bummed down, because there's always another opportunity at the end of the day. Like it's, if you missed out on something here or it didn't go right there, then like there's always new stuff coming out like every single day. There's a constant opportunities that are growing in the space. That's why I love DeFi and crypto so much, is because there's always a chance. It's not like you are one and done and that's it. Like you can always come back, you can always remake your money and everything like that. And so it's just like taking it as a lesson, learning how you can improve on that, and just staying in like a positive space, because that's happened to me where like I've lost like most of my money, but you kind of just have to work past it and realize like, why did that happen? How can you make it not happen again, and continue to grow past that? It's just, sometimes it can be tough, but just don't be hard on yourself, and just realize you're not also the only one. Like there's tons of people every single day, probably thousands upon thousands of people every day that are losing so much money and all this stuff. And when I first got into crypto and like DeFi and stuff, I seen it in some projects. This is like really where there's like a high APY time and super crazy rebases and all that. And people were investing their life savings. They were saying like, I lost everything. And like seeing a lot of those really made me realize like, wow, like these people do not have the biggest head on their shoulders right now, because like, why are you putting your life savings into something that's totally a gamble, complete risk and all this? And yeah, just know that it is a gamble. It's everything in DeFi is an experiment. You can't really get mad for losing. You can't beat yourself up, because not everything's going to go great. Not everything's going to win. Just like as Robert said too, like, you know, sometimes it's those 2 or 3 things that hit out of the 10 and those 7 things that lose, but maybe those 2 or 3 things really make up for what the other 10 lost. Or what the other 7 lost, sorry.
Right. No, that's good advice. And I think that's one thing that a lot of us forget is that, number one, we're not alone in this journey. There's a lot of us doing this. And it's kind of like my last video, I broke down the 3 biggest mistakes. And one of them is, it was kind of a rite of passage a couple of years ago to lose money, to send it to the wrong wallet, to do something really stupid. If you didn't lose a good chunk of money, you didn't earn your badge of honor. You couldn't be one of us. It's kind of the way.
Yeah.
I never did that. I've never had one single wallet issue where I've sent to the wrong address, not once.
I've never done that either, actually, no.
You haven't had fire fingers. You haven't had fire fingers, man. One of my buddies, he sent 10K to the LP contract wallet.
Yeah, I think I remember that actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Just 10 grand to the LP contract.
Yeah.
Attention to detail is one thing that's always been, me. I mean, the first lesson most of us learn or should learn is make sure that be anally retentive about making sure that address is identical, or you're going to lose it.
Yep. That's one of the number
check
one
it 4 times.
Yeah.
And I mean, with me, it's also about risk mitigation. I mean, if you put all your eggs in one basket, you might end up with a goose egg.
It's true.
Yeah.
Very true. And so, yeah, Rebel, sounds like you are a little wiser than the rest of us up here, because we've all kind of fallen on our face. I know me multiple times. So
Rebel's got some wise words.
Good man. Now let me ask, because I've never seen your face. This is my first time being on with you, Rebel. So great to have you here. But it sounds like you're kind of a unique duck in the DeFi space. So I'm really kind of curious as far as do you feel that was from your upbringing, from just your personality, or did you learn this insight from somebody else in your life that kind of guided you in this direction?
No, I'm entirely self-taught. I mean, my parents did their best to raise me. I mean, sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they failed. I mean, but I mean, I've always wanted to return to the lifestyle I had as a child. I'd like to start a family. But I mean, my grandfather was one of my biggest role models. He taught me a lot about business, and if I'd have to say, he was probably my biggest insight, But I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, sure, I learned it from him, but look at what you're doing. Don't just flip through it and fuck it off. Right. I mean, look at what you're doing, verify it's what it should be, and then go for it. I mean, I think the biggest mistake I made was at the Seifu pre-sale. I had it on the wrong frigging network, so I didn't get into the pre-sale. I got on there right after it was over, but still, I mean, I was still green and new and all that. I didn't think to check the network, but it's. But I mean, I've never lost money sending something to the wrong address.
You got me beat, because that's one thing I even talked about in my last video was I sent BNB over to Coinbase, not realizing that they didn't allow BSC on that. I'm like, well, it's BNB. What? Okay, so I sent $300, and guess what? Poof, gone.
Yep.
So yeah, not only the wallet address, but the network. I mean, there's so many details, and in our society. I'm sorry?
I'm good with details. I'm actually anally retentive about details.
Yeah.
You're one of the few, so my hat's off to you, brother, because, yeah, that's commendable. Because, I think for so many of us, it's kind of a rite of passage. And I often wonder if that's me being a lazy American. I mean, we expect to, if we do make a mistake, we call 1-800 numbers. Hey, can you fix this? I screwed up. And I think we've gotten so spoiled in that, and DeFi doesn't allow for those kind of mistakes anymore. So it's
Work smart, not hard.
Right. So I'm curious.
Hey,
now,
I gotta get rolling, man. I hate to tell you that I gotta get off now, but I got some stuff I gotta take care of. So
that's okay, brother. I'm glad you could join us here, and you know, I hope you'd enjoy this because you are one of the biggest proposers of angel investing. And so, no, I think we've learned a lot. I think we've covered a lot. So this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Zach.
yeah. And by the way, I was actually on time today. I showed up in the chat there at it was 11:01, by the way.
Good man.
And I couldn't connect. So that's why it looked like I was late, but I actually wasn't.
Oh, I'm proud of you. All right. Gold star for Zach today. Nice job, brother.
Is that a Guinness World Records moment?
Yeah, kind of. So I mentioned, you're probably, I don't know if you've noticed that sticky note on my computer yet.
I did. I was trying to figure out what that said. I was looking at that earlier.
It says procrastinator.
Procrastinator.
So one of my worst traits is being an entrepreneur. I've got I don't know. I've got so many different things going on. And so it's DeFi, luckily I don't have a lot of different projects rolling around, so it's nice. But like everything else in life, it's if I don't call it out myself to myself, how am I going to work on it? So I wrote to myself that I'm a procrastinator. So every time I look at that, I'm like, what do I got to get done? So,
I like it. I need to do the same in a great big poster right here. I got to work on that.
Yeah. So anyways, gosh, thanks for having this live stream, man. It was a pleasure to have everybody else too that came on. And yeah, I mean, Rebel will tell you, like you said earlier, he's been with us for a while too, and I've had many conversations with him. So appreciate him being on. And yeah, look forward to what's coming. I will say, related to collective finance, there's some big stuff coming. Big stuff, yeah. So be excited and be ready for that because it's coming within the next, I would say, 2 weeks. But we have, we're going to make an announcement, this week, and kind of tell everybody what's going on and where we're headed. So be excited for that because it's.
Hey,
it's
so
coming.
now real quick, before you run away, Zach, I want to close it off on one thing. Now, we talked about angels. That's what this started out as. But Chrome kind of hinted that there are still opportunities for angels out there. Is that really a thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, we technically right now, I mean, we have a unique situation right now that it's a possibility that all of our NFTs could get bought. But as of right now, they're still available. So, I always say, it's not a deal until it's a done deal, So, whether or not the other sale goes through, they're still available right now. We probably have about 13 left. And so they're worked in a tiered system. It's the first 5 are 5,000, second 5 are 6,000, third 5 are $7,000. It's really not. I mean, it seems like a decent amount, but for what these things are going to offer, when we get these graphics out to you guys, you'll really be able to tell. But there's not very many of them. There's only 100 ever in existence. So. And we will not be printing any more than 100. That's it. So
it's in the code. There can be no more than 100 to ever exist of the angel NFTs. So
okay, so in 6 months they can't say, "Oh, we need some more money. Let's make some more angels." That can't happen.
Can't happen.
Nope.
Not possible.
We've only minted 66 out of the 100 of the collection. So that means that we only have 15 out of the 13 now out of the 66. And then we still have another 34 on reserve, for a potential another sale. But what we're going to do for our current angel investors is, every time we go to sell these things, they're going to be more expensive. They're not going to be cheaper. So, those 34, you can bet your butt that those are going to be a lot significantly. I would imagine they'd be significantly higher than the top tier of these NFTs we're selling now. So, they'll be more than 7,000 a piece. So, like I said, there's roughly 13 left. And if you guys are interested, contact any of us on the team. You can get a hold of Chrome though right away. He's got my personal cell phone number, both of them, and we talk on the daily every day. So I guess not every day, but pretty much every day.
Pretty close.
So if there's something that needs to be handled, he's good for it. So just message him, ask him about it. I'm not trying to shill too much about it, but since you brought it up, I do think that it's a good opportunity if you're looking to enter our ecosystem. That's probably going to be the best way to do it if you can afford it. So
sounds good. No, and
not
that's one
financial advice, by the way.
Very wise. Good point to throw in there. And there is the link to the Discord right there. And yeah, if you have any questions, jump and ask these guys. They're happy to answer them all the way around. And so this is why I wanted to bring in such a diversified group, not only Collective Finance, but Robert Doyle, Rebel, who is an actual angel investor, but not part of the team. So we've got a very wide variety here. And I hope all of you have learned something from this. And so we've covered a lot of knowledge, a lot of things of experience to learn and to grow. And so be wise, be smart out there. And in closing, Chrome, is there anything you'd like to say, my man?
Oh man, I guess just thanks for having us, and I wish I could say thanks to Robert again, but he's not here. But thanks, Rebel, and obviously thanks, Zach, for coming and helping us out. And thanks for everybody in the audience. If you're interested in learning more about us, you can always reach out, join our Discord, follow our Twitter. We're pretty active on all our social medias and stuff. And if you're interested in getting an angel NFT, I would definitely start to reach out now, because they're just going to get more and more expensive. $5,000 may seem like a lot right now, but just imagine when they're $10,000. So. Yeah, definitely reach out. We're going to be doing lots of fun stuff, and thank you.
Perfect. No, I appreciate it, and thank you very much. And now, Rebel, you are definitely your first time here. I want to thank you, first of all, for taking the time to joining us and sharing your insights. And I want to ask you one last question in closing here, buddy. Cool. How do you feel about being an angel investor and holding one of these NFTs?
Well, the one thing that goes through my mind is I don't have to worry about keeping an eye on my principal, because it's not going to go anywhere.
Fair enough.
I mean, a lot of people, they get so fixated on chasing APRs, they forget to look at their principal. I mean, if you've got the reward token going down continually, are you even going to be able to make enough interest to break even, let alone make any? You have to look after your principal.
Mm-hmm. Very wise. Point. Very good. So, no, I want to thank you very much, because you've really brought in a new insight into this conversation. So I want to thank you for your time, Rebel.
I do my best.
You've done great. And for everybody who's watching, whether you were here in the live or in the recording, I want to thank you for your time, and definitely be smart, be safe out there, and never listen to Bob at the water cooler. That guy doesn't know a thing. Okay, everybody, thank you again. And until next time, have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
See you later.